I have been threatening to do this particular video for over a year now, and it's maybe more than one video because it's a pretty big topic. I'm going to talk today about freedom and the American dream. Now, you might think that they have a lot to do with one another, but really they don't. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Everyone's free to do so. Just comment, but don't call me an idiot or whatever. But anyway, if you look up the American dream, what you're going to see is that it's the belief that with hard work and ingenuity that you can get anything you want, any financial dreams that you want. And actually, that's probably couldn't be farther from the truth, because all it gets is people working their whole lives away and having nothing for it in many cases. But freedom is a whole different subject, because if you're working your whole life to get something, how free are you in reality? Now, if you look back in time to just before the Civil War, of course, I know none of you were here then, but from what you've read about it and heard about it, you know that there was slavery, of course. And you had these big, rich plantation owners that owned all these slaves that done their work for them. And amongst those slaves, there were certain ones they would pick out to make sure that the rest of the slaves were doing their job. And then, of course, you had the whole rest of those slaves that was doing all the hard work. What they teach you that has gone away since the Civil War, after the war, but it really hasn't. It's just changed form. You have the government, who is slave owners, and the big plantation owner, the plantation being the country, and then you have the slave drivers, which is the big corporations, your bosses and stuff, and then you have all the rest of us, which is the slaves. Everything we do from the time we're born, they train us to work for them. They send us to school to learn to work for them. They make it mandatory that we go to school so that we can make money for them. They control all of it. They control all of us. Now, you may be sitting there right now and thinking, well, Kelly, I ain't no slave. But in reality, we all are. Think of it. Einstein said, the best slave is the one who thinks he's free. Well, they force feed us this big freedom thing, the land of the free and all this stuff. But we're free to do what they tell us to do. That's what that's what we are. We're free to do whatever they say. Let's say that you decide that you don't want to work anymore, or if you get sick or just want to go on vacation or something, and you just go. You're not going to have your job when you come back. And when you don't have your job, you're not going to be getting your paycheck anymore. So then you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your power, you're going to lose your car. So how free are we if we're just constantly running around trying to keep those things, striving to get this so-called American dream that we're the one that has that the American dream has really come true for is the government. Think about it. They print up the money. They make you work for it and do their little dance for them. And That's the only way that you can get this money to keep going in this, to keep your hamster wheel to keep going.
And I think the biggest thing is the paper that they put, and they say it's valuable, and it's just paper.
It's use.
It's an illusion.
My tissue. It's the same thing. It's paper. You know. Now you would think that since they want us to have these good jobs to keep paying the taxes in to them, that they would supply your education. And they do up to 12th grade. But to go to college, to make bigger money, you'd think that they would supply that too. But the reason that they don't is because they figure, oh, we'll make them to where they have to get these student loans, and then they're paying it off until they're dead too. And another thing I want to point out, the word mortgage, for any of you who's paying mortgage, anyone who knows what a mortgage is, do you know that the word mortgage is derived from the word mortality, which means literally you pay on it till you die. Literally. Now they keep telling us that they're in this huge debt, that the country's in this huge debt. So I thought, okay, let me check this out. So I researched, and it's simple to do. I just said, Google how many jobs are, full-time jobs are paying taxes. It was 125 million people, 125 million full-time jobs are held. And when I checked how much the average full-time employee was paying in taxes per year, it came, of course, some's more, some's less, of course, but it came up to $16,000 a year. And when I tried to figure that, my calculator would not do it. It was so much money that the calculator couldn't figure it. And now, here's something you have to consider. That's just full-time hourly employees. That's not counting salaried employees. That's not counting part-time, seasonal, temporary, any of that stuff. Self-employment, it's not counting any of those. So imagine how much they're getting. And they still keep telling us that they need more. It makes no sense. They just want to keep us in our little shell and spinning on that hamster wheel to bring more money for them. Now, it was just a couple years ago that we started putting all this stuff together mentally with the slavery and all this. And it didn't take us long to decide that we wanted to get out of that. And that's what motivated us to start living this way. That's when we started researching it and watching videos. And that's when I started getting the itch. I started getting tired of just being in the same spot. And I love moving around and seeing different stuff. And maybe it's not for everyone, but to me, this is my American dream. I mean, yours may be something else. You may want the big house and all that. But from what I've seen throughout my life, with every situation, you just end up dead. And then what happens to your place? Yeah, maybe your kids get a few dollars out of it or something. But generally they have their own place anyway, and the place just goes to nothing good. Just like you seen in the video when we went back to Shock. That happened with my parents' house. That's what happened there. The place that we lived, we ended up selling it because we all couldn't decide. Some of us wanted to keep it and some of us wanted to sell it, so we ended up all of us being forced to sell it, and it's nothing now. It's nothing at all. And that's what happens to your American dream. It becomes nothing in the end. Now, a lot of you people might be, well, I'm a homeowner. I own my place. I own my land. But do you really? Quit paying the taxes on it and see how fast you get put out. See how long you own it after you quit paying the taxes on it. Because in the end, it is still the government's. It's all government land. They just rent it to you. See, they built this big illusion for us with they say we're free. They use freedom as the motivator, and then they throw in the money, something you have to have. If it wasn't for money, we'd all be a lot happier. And some people say, well, we can't make it without money. Yeah, you can. If you that's why we help people. If we help someone, that's less that the government has to do for them. The less that they have to depend on another source if we can help them. And I like helping people. Now, another thing that they keep pushing on us from the time we're little is division. When the kids first go to school, they'll put, oh, the boys against the girls. It always has to be sides. You get bigger. Football, you got pick a side. And then you got politics, religion, pick a side. They don't want us to have unity. They say they do, but if they did, why would they have all these different, the two political parties banging heads all the time? And it's to keep us apart so that we don't unify and figure things out. Oh, look at all this they're doing to us. That's why I'm talking about it today. Maybe some of you guys can see this. Now, could you imagine what the government would do? I have no idea what they'd do if everyone or the majority of the people, taxpayers, would just decide not to work for a month, take a whole month and not do anything. Could you? They'd freak out. I think that we could control the government if we done that. If we tell them we're not going back to work until you do this, I could see that they'd freak out if everyone had just quit working, paying taxes all at once for a little while. I think it'd drive them nuts. Well, I could talk about this for hours, literally, but I'm going to cut it short, and I really hope I didn't offend anyone. If I did, I'm so sorry. I'm just giving you my opinion. Like I said, feel free to comment, and I hope you liked it, but let me know what you think, okay? Bye.